And let me just add a couple of things quickly. Take a look at the New Tech Network, if you haven't been introduced to them. So it's a network of schools across the country, because I think here there's a couple of things that we've been learning along the way. The technology just has a lot of potential to really kind of be a game changer. But at the end of the day, we have to always got to remember that it's side by side with a good use, a strong use, like what Pat was talking about, really kind of going to where the students are as opposed to where we'd like them to be, kind of coming from their experiences of how we use the technology. But at the same time, we know it's going to go back to some old, tough issues, just about good teachers and great leaders of the schools. So we want to make sure that we don't kind of, completely fool ourselves that somehow the technology will be the only answer. No one's saying that. But sometimes you see just the positive that's going on and forget that kind of side by side and hand in hand with the great new things that are happening on the technology side. We've got to get back to when we're looking about how data is being used, about how the teachers who are leading the classrooms and are doing it in a different way, the leaders of the schools, those pieces kind of go hand in hand.
I think there's time for one more question.
Thanks. I have a question, although I think it's really important that we attack this problem of dropout prevention. We have also these other folks, 40 million adults in this country who have already dropped out. And so they're out there and they need skills upgrade, they need to get their GED, they need to be college and career ready. And so my question is, are there plans for those folks who might, despite all of our wonderful efforts, then go ahead and drop out? So do we have plans in this dropout prevention strategy to deal with those adults who might go ahead and drop out on our watch?
You mean through this initiative?
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that we want to ensure is that we don't take on everything. And that's why we're focusing on 12 areas. Now, as stations reply to the RFP, you're going to be bringing to the table your good ideas, your suggestions. We don't want to dictate this from CPB. And it's why we have Jack Galmish with the 9 Network, who we've all worked with on the mortgage crisis, to make sure this is from the bottom up, from the local area up, and you define what you take on, because we want to measure it. We want to, at the end of the day, initially this is 18 months, but there's another additional year, the stations who will be doing this, awarded the contract, the grant, to pledge to do it for another year after the initial 18 months. So right now, we are focused on getting kids to stay in high school and graduate from 12th grade.
I agree with that strategy in terms of concentration. We do know that if it's somebody drops out and then comes back, particularly with the GED, I do not want to discourage anyone from getting a GED because it gives you the credential you need to go to the next step. But we also know that there's a less economic impact to it. We also know there's less likelihood of them completing a course of study. Having said that, the administration early on issued one, as I recall, an executive order recognizing the large amount of unemployed, recognizing folks who are going to be trying to get back in, that there was to be, for the first time, there was coordination between the Department of Labor, the U.S. Secretary of Education, and I think Veterans Affairs may have been in there as well. So that, now this is what I call, how can we encourage everyone, particularly during economic hard times, to move one step up? All the folks who got laid off, those jobs aren't coming back in the way that they knew them. The skill levels have been subsumed into another job and a higher set. So we have to provide the ability, the inspiration, and yes, the resources, so that they can move at least one step up in their education ladder, to drop out to the graduate, high school graduate, to some kind of post-secondary, and so on. We saw the single greatest economic explosion take place in this country when the GI Bill went into effect, and 8 million veterans who were going to be on the street went instead to school. And we rode that wave for about 2 decades. We need to be doing the same thing again. It goes to your issue, but for the immediate purposes, if we can stop them from dropping out, it makes the work a lot easier.
So two quick things I would add. One is the governor is exactly right, and the importance of community colleges for the first time. I think that's something we feel very proud that President Obama has really taken the lead to say, a lot of times we kind of, look at the community colleges as not real schools and kind of a joke and an extension of high school, but we know what a critical role they play in our communities in terms of workforce development. So particularly in these tough economic times. And so I think be looking out, because within the next week, the conversations that have been going on across the agencies between labor and education with the VA, we're looking at a huge announcement about the fruition of that, and some big dollars are going to be aimed exactly at what we're talking about. So that's the first one. Big piece on community colleges that's about to get announced soon. The second piece is, I think once again, you all can help us as we bring these ideas to the table with the community about just challenging the old way. You heard the governor say this early on about the not one size fits all. So you see Mayor Bloomberg in New York City cutting a deal with IBM to create a new school that is a 6-year school. It's not a 4-year high school. It's a 6-year school with internships during the summer. And when you get through this 6-year program, IBM guarantees you a job at the end of it. It's a little bit different than the old model of a 4-year high school, then you go on to some version of something beyond high school. You all have probably heard about the early college programs, where you've got high school students who are graduating with an associate's degree from community college, and are able to kind of take those courses so that they're not bored and not wasting that senior year. They're now kind of challenging and taking advantage of it, and literally graduating with a high school diploma and an associate's degree at the same time. So really kind of getting serious about how we get past the old way of thinking about, oh, then you go to 12th grade, and then it's here, and then it's there, is going to be an important part of the conversation as well.
And Juan mentioned international comparisons. Here's one to challenge all of us. I was looking at some numbers. We do some work in this area. My cohort, you can tell I'm out of office when I start talking to cohorts. My generation, the 55 to 64, during my generation, the United States was second in the world in terms of college degrees per capita. 25 to the current generation, 25 to 34, we're now 10th. And dropping. It's not that we're educating worse, others are educating much better, but we're not putting the same emphasis. And as Juan pointed out, with the changing demographics of our nation, all our children have to succeed. Otherwise, we're going to see this continued race past us in terms of education attainment. Now, and the statistic I like is, if we could only increase our PISAs, the international test for 15-year-olds, who came in 21st, I think, in science and math or something, most recently in 2009. But if we could only increase our performance 25 points, that's out of 1,000. Poland did it in 6 years. We can increase it 25 points in 20 years. It would add $40 trillion to our GDP over the lifetime of a child born today. So there is a direct economic impact to our country by doing this, taking these steps.
I think we've run out of time, but join me again, please, and thank you